There is no shortage of success. So he asked a question and he said, how do you view success? Right? So write that down. If you've got a piece of paper and a pen in front of you, I'd like for you to write it down. How do I view success? Now, the reason I'm asking you to write this down is because today is Wednesday and we're going to sit on this for the next 3 days. We're going to sit on some of this topic for the next 3 days, and it's going to build on each other. And I'm so excited to hear your ahas around it. So how do I view success? And what Gary said is there's no limit to how much success a person can create. You can have as much as you want, and so can I, right? You can have as much success as you want, and so can I. And your achievement doesn't prevent or limit my abilities to achieve my success. How many of you know that? Your achievement doesn't limit or impact my ability to achieve my success. Most people see success in scarcity. You know this, right? Most people see success in scarcity. And if someone else is successful, it limits my ability to have success. I don't want to think that way. I don't want to think that if someone else is successful, it limits my ability to have my success. And so that's where limitless coaching came from. Because I don't know how you grew up, and you know, all of us have different experiences from childhood to adulthood. And yet I have shared with you before that I grew up in a wonderful family. My parents are amazing. And yet I grew up with a scarcity mindset around money. That a lot of money is something that other people have and I don't. And because they have it, I may not be able to get it. Did anyone else grow up in some mindsets around scarcity, right? Okay, so limitless coaching is built around the fact that you take the limits off of that kind of thinking and you begin to think from abundance, right? So I want you to write down the word scarcity. So do this, scarcity. Scratch through it, put an X over it, and write in bigger letters, abundance. You guys understand that as adults, we're visual learners. Most of us are. So scarcity, cross it out, and talk to your prefrontal cortex through the word abundance. Okay, and so what I'm getting ready to go through with you now, and I'm going to give you 4 points that I would like for you to write down. 4 points, and I want you to view these 4 points, if you will, through a lens of abundance. So if you've got anything else up, email, close it out. If you're focused on your phone, text messaging, be right here in this moment right now with me, please, so that you can get the most out of this. All right. So let's talk about capacity. And I also want to hear your thoughts. That's the other reason why I don't want to call on you. And then you say, oh, I wasn't paying attention. I hate that. It hurts my heart. I don't want anybody to feel that way. Okay. So for capacity. So if you don't know what's limiting you, so let's talk about limits. Many of us, maybe it's just me, but most of us, I would think, including me, put limits on ourselves in different areas. Even if you think you don't, you do. Because it's just, it's our habit. Now, there are a few people in this world that have gotten to the pinnacle of not doing that, and you can too. There's no scarcity, there's no limit to the number of people that can reach full abundant thinking, right? You just have to flood your prefrontal cortex with the stuff of abundance. So let's talk about capacity. So when you think about limits, many of us think about capacity, right? What's my capacity? Like, have you ever seen someone that gets more done in a 24-hour day than you can get done in like a week, right? I love those people. I'm not there yet. I'm not where I used to be, but I'm not where I want to be. But I love those people, right? And when I want something done, guess who I give it to? That person. Because I know that person will get it done. And I'm surrounded with those people. Deanna, Morgan, Katarina, I'm surrounded with those people, right? So I give it to that person. And yet the real answer is that none of us have a capacity on what we can accomplish. None of us have a capacity on what we can accomplish. So let me just read something to you from this book. Your capacity isn't set. So here's what I want to ask you a couple of questions. I want you to really think about these, how it pertains to you today. Are you getting done all that you want to do? Or do you want to see more, do more, be more? Because if you guys are like me, you want to achieve more, right? So let me ask you these questions and think about these. What's getting in your way? What's getting in your way? Write it down. Write it down. Get it on paper. What's getting in your way? What's limiting you? Write it down. I'm not going to ask you to share. Just write it down. Do you know? Do you know? So if you don't know what's limiting you, how do you remove it? How do you identify and remove something you don't even know is there? Because, and that's what we're going to talk about today, guys, because here's what I know. Once you know it, you can't what? Unknow it. Unknow it, right? So if you show up on this call every day, or if you listen by live stream, it's so funny. I saw a comment on my live stream yesterday from my brother. Remember I talked about my brother and his sale? I mean, I'm thinking my family doesn't listen to me. They don't listen to my podcast. And sure enough, he was listening. And he said, oh, Becky, it was actually 12 hours, not 24. I was like, all right, well, okay. So what's getting in your way? What's limiting you? So most of us don't know how to define it. And yet what John Maxwell tells us in this book is that a lot of it has to do about how we think about our capacity. Write that down. Capacity. Question mark, question mark. All right. So he says here, and I want to say this way he says it because he says it better than I can. You hear one person identified as high capacity and another as low capacity, and we just accept that. What's your capacity? Maybe you haven't put a label on it, but you've probably settled into a level of achievement that you believe is what's possible for you. Right? We settle into this, we think it in our brains, even though we show up and we say, I'm going to slay the day. This is me. Be limitless. I'm here. I got the whole Tony Robbins change my stance thing. And as soon as we turn off this, right, Nico? And as soon as we turn off this call, we go, oh, I can't lead Jen today. I don't have time. Right? We immediately put a limit on our capacity. Too many people hear the word capacity and assume it's a limitation. They assume their capacity is set, especially if they're beyond a certain age. People give up on the idea that their capacity or their potential can grow. And so here's what we do. We try to manage whatever we think we've got. We say to ourselves, all right, this is it. I'm going to manage what I've got and just try to really expound upon what I think I've got in this bubble, right? What I think I've got in this bubble. So we're going to talk about 4 things that you can do to really help you through this capacity limit mindset. So how many of you like Peanuts, the comic strip Peanuts? Snoopy. I'm a Snoopy fan. I love dogs. I'm a Snoopy fan. Linus, my heart breaks for that poor child. Every time I read a comic strip, and poor Linus walking around with all this dirt around him. But Charles Schulz, creator of Peanuts comic strip, wrote, life is like a 10-speed bike. Most of us have gears we never use. Life is like a 10-speed bike. Most of us have gears we never use. So you guys know, get a piece of paper out. You know what I'm getting ready to do. I want you to draw a line on the bottom of your page or wherever you have. So draw a line for me. Nico, you and I have coaching in a few minutes. So I'm excited to see what you write here. And we have 10 speeds on our bike. And down here on this side of the line, I want you to write a 1. And on this side of the line, I want you to write a 10. So we're going to write a 1 and then we're going to write a 10. And when we think about our life capacity, what we're able to achieve, what gear are you running in? You don't have to share, but be honest with yourself. What gear are you running in? Whatever number you choose in your mind, that's your capacity. That's your limit. So if you're running in 4th gear, that's your limit. That's your bubble on your life, on your world. And that bubble, here's where it gets real, guys. That bubble shows up in the influence that you have on the people that you love. So let's take yourself out of the equation. The people that you love and that are looking at you and admiring you and following you, whoever that is, they're creating that same gear bubble. So whatever gear you wrote down, there are ways to push through that gear. If you're at 9, okay, let's get you to a 10. If you're at 1, let's get you to a 2. There's no judgment. Don't be tied to the outcome. The only thing you can control is what? Your lead measures or your lag measures? Your lead measures, right? So what you can control is the things that you do to increase your capacity. And I'm going to give you 4 things. Before you write down the first one, these are all going to pertain to self-awareness. All right. Who can tell me what self-awareness is? What does self-awareness do for you? Anyone? I'd love to hear from you. Nico.
It makes you realize who you really are.
Does it help you see yourself clearly?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What else that's great. That's true. What else is self-awareness?
To know where your flaws are.
To know where your flaws are, but also to know what you're really good at. Right? See how we just went. I love it that you pointed that out because that's what we do. We immediately go to self-awareness shows me, it puts the mirror up to all of the bad things, right? Here's my flaws. Here's this. But self-awareness is really, really also about what am I really good at? One of the things that Catherine Rain said yesterday, I'm going to be honest with you. Here's one of the things she said yesterday that drove me having this conversation with you this morning. She was talking about her lead generation and how she works with her clients and that she doesn't work outside of a broker agreement. I mean, she really just laid it down, right? And someone asked her a question about, are you concerned that you're going to lose clients or whatever? And she says, you know what? Not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to like Catherine Rain. Not everybody's going to like the way I do things. Not everybody's going to work with me. And that's okay. What a powerful sense of self-awareness, right? So not only is it about your flaws, it is about your strengths. What you have in your arsenal already that you can leverage that works really, really good for you. And it opens the door, having an awareness around that of how to, Nico, you said it, maximize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses is how you open the door to greater capacity. So I'm going to give you 4 things and I want to hear your thoughts around this. So first is, here's how you build more awareness. More awareness. So if you really, really want to work on this and grow your capacity from a 4 in the gear number 4 to a gear number 10, it starts with self-awareness. And here's the first thing: attention, looking for what I need to know. Attention, looking for what I need to know. All right. Who we are, there's something called the lens principle, and it says who we are, looking at my notes now, determines how we see others. Did you know that? Who we are determines how we see others. Who's experienced this? Who's got an example of this? James?
Sure. I mean, it's however you're feeling mentally that day is gonna color the lenses of how you see the world and those people around you. So you if you're in a bad mood, you're gonna take offense, or if you're in a good mood, then hopefully you'll see the good in other people. It's kind of like whenever you're taking customers to a showing, and the curbside appeal is going to color how they see the entire house. So if they have a positive first impression, then they'll see it from a positive perspective. And if not, then they might miss out on a home that otherwise they would truly love. So.
And that is true, right? So perspective is everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it a little bit deeper. You're right. And I'm going to take it a little bit deeper, and I'm going to say, who we are determines how we see others, and it determines how we see ourselves. So I'm going to take it down to something very simple. I don't want to call this customer, I don't want to call this person I haven't talked to in a long time or I don't want to cold call this person, even though they have a home that I know my buyer needs, because I don't want to bother them. I don't want to bother them. Where does that come from? Where does that thought come from? It's because we don't want to be bothered, right? We may have it in our own mind that that's what we want or we don't want. And so that's how we see ourselves. Or let me break it down into something else. We actually, if we determine that how we see others is how we see ourselves, maybe we don't see ourselves as being as highly functioning as we would like for other people to think. And so therefore we judge others through that same lens. Did that hit with anybody, or is it just me? Right? Right? So what John Maxwell is saying here is that we need to look for what we need to know. So how do I react and how do I think where other people are involved, and how do I project that on others? And what can I do to see myself differently? What can I do to see myself differently? And guys, that means you're going to go back to the source. You're going to go back to the source of your big why and why you're doing this anyway, to have self-awareness around that. Okay, number 2, awareness, discovering what I need to know. So the first one was looking for what I need to know, for what I need to know. And the second is discovering what I need to know. What stops people from reaching their capacity often isn't a lack of desire. It's usually a lack of awareness. So get this. This was cool. Unfortunately, people don't become self-aware accidentally. There are factors that also work against us and prevent us from developing great self-awareness, such as, which of these might apply to you? Not all of them, but just a few of them. So I'm going to read these. These are things that work against us and prevent us from developing great self-awareness. 1, excuses. Stops us from developing great self-awareness, awareness around what our capacity is, around what we can do, around what we can achieve. Success fantasies that are ungrounded in reality. success fantasies that are ungrounded in reality. Talking without listening to others stops our self-awareness. When someone is talking to you and you're already thinking about what you want to say, that's ego. That's ego working against you because it's all about you. You're not attuned to and listening to that other person and then applying that to what you're next going to say. Unresolved negative emotions. This stops us from reaching our highest level of self-awareness. Unresolved negative emotions around ourselves and around others. Habitual self-distraction, right? If any of you have taken the bold and taken bold, it's called that like shiny diamond, that drunk monkey around. Habitual self-distractions, picking up this, right? Picking up this, having it ding all the time. Absence of personal self-reflection. By a show of hands, how many of you on this call take at least 15 to 20 minutes every single day to self-reflect? Nico and Diane, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm going to have you share with us in just a moment what you learn in that self-reflection time. I don't every day. I don't do it every day. And yet, when you sit down and you actually take time for self-reflection every day and you ask yourself, what went well? These are the 3 questions. I mean, really, it's simple. What went well today? What would I like to have seen gone better today? And what did I learn today? It's those 3 questions. It's those 3 questions, and that's it. It's a self-awareness muscle that you build every day. And guys, this might not seem like really important stuff. It may just seem, in some of this, it may seem like, oh gosh, this is just fluffy stuff and I'm busy and I got to get at my day. But the reality is when you get into the moment of an intense situation, or you get into moments of feeling like you're not good enough, or you get into moments and feeling that this is never going to work, or that you're scared, or that you're in fear, or that you don't have enough time, or whatever you want to put in that place, building your self-awareness muscle is what separates you from going from 4th gear to 10th gear. It's that tipping point. Did anybody ever read the book, The Tipping Point? It's a great book. We're going to read it this year too. It's that tipping point of moving from outside of yourself to inside of yourself in true self-awareness. Now, I'm going to stop there. I've given you 2. We're going to talk about the other 2 tomorrow. I want to get some ahas from this. So first of all, I want to say in the chat box, Karen said, ask your children these 3 questions nightly while tucking them in. What went well today? What were my wins today? What went well today? What could I have done better today? And what did I learn today? What did I learn today? I love that, Karen. And guess what? Have your children ask you, Mom, what went well for you today? What would you like to have seen different today? What worked well? What did you learn today? Have that conversation with your spouse or your significant other or your best friend, right? I love that. Dovile, I ask my kids similar questions every day. I love it. So Diane, I'm going to ask you to speak for a moment because Diane is my good friend and I've been, around Diane a lot, and I know she does a lot of Tony Robbins stuff. She does a lot of self-introspection. She does a lot of journaling. And just really quickly, I know that you actually do sit down and do this every day because I've seen your journal and it's crazy, unbelievable journal. Tell us what do you get out of going through and asking yourself these self-reflective questions every day, and how does that build your self-awareness specifically around breaking through ceilings?
So first of all, I gotta admit, I stopped for a long while. I stopped for a while, and recently I realized that this was a big part of what was missing from me to really operate at my best. So I
Mhm.
started back up again. So part of the practice is I have my gratitude journal in the morning, and it's all the things I'm grateful for, but also all the things that I want to. So my manifestation journal also.
Mhm.
So it's all one page. But at night it the self-reflection at night really allows me to really see whether I have achieved what I've wanted to achieve that day. It
Mhm.
gives me clarity. It allows me to, and this is the part I need to work on, judge myself. Uh, so I know that's what I need to work on. It allows me to really
Don't
look,
judge.
see where I did not operate in my best interest. See,
Yeah.
I'm using better words too. So it really allows me to, and it sets the tone for what I want to. I start thinking about what I want to achieve the next day.
Mhm. Mhm.
So visualization, thank you for sharing that, Diane. What I'm hearing you say is that visualization is very much a key. So tonight, here's why I'm bringing this up to you all, because I have different conversations with all of you all the time. And while you all are doing wonderful, wonderful, amazing things, I find that you focus on what you're not doing well. I have conversations with almost every single one of you. And every single one of you at some point in time are giving me some feedback on what you're not doing well. And I never hear from you, what are you doing well? What are you proud of? What are you excelling at? Right? We are always going to have stuff to work on. But if you make that your focus, then you're maximizing your weaknesses and you're minimizing your strengths. You hearing me? So if you spend time in self-reflection every single day, at the end of the day, manifesting, gratitude journal, asking yourself these 3 questions, whatever it is, and focusing more on what your strengths are and how to leverage those strengths and minimize those weaknesses, and really, like Diane said, stop focusing on the F word, faults. You guys thought I was talking about something else. I'm not. Faults. Stop focusing on your faults and focus on your strengths. And instead of looking at it as your faults, ask yourself, what would I have liked to have gone better? And what did I learn from it? Be kind to yourself. Love yourself. And understand that growing a self-awareness will allow you to move through difficulty with more grace, with more forgiveness, and more compassion, not only for yourself, but for others. Okay? Was this helpful today? Was this helpful to you today? Because my goal every day, okay, good. I see the notes, Karen. Thank you. My goal every day, my divine gift, I think, is to show up and really connect with you on a deep level that's going to help you with tools to every day. To some of these tools you may say, not for me, but others you may say yes. And so tomorrow we're going to go through the other 2 pieces of creating self-awareness. And if I can find that free publication, I'll send it out. I'll post it on Limitless Coaching, or maybe I'll just, I've got everybody on my participant list here. I may just email you, because sometimes I post stuff on my Limitless Coaching page and I find out you guys can't access it. So if I find it, I'll send it to you. But tomorrow we're going to talk about the last 2 keys around self-awareness. And I want to hear some ahas from you. Can I get a commitment from all of you that you will put time in your schedule for self-reflection today at the end of the day, either right now or at the end of today? And you're going to ask yourself those 3 questions. What are the 3 questions, Karen?
The 3 questions are, my dog's going to bark, of course.
I know. He's so cute.
What went well today?
Mhm.
What do I wish had gone better? And what did I learn today?
I love that. I love it. Ask yourself those 3 questions. And at the beginning of our call tomorrow, I really want to hear from some of you that are willing to share and help build others up and collaborate on this call. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day, guys. It is hump day. Woohoo! You knew I wasn't going to stop without saying that. I'll see you soon. Bye.